This coverage of the British Historic Rally Championship is brought to you by Autosessif.com, Skipton Ford, the Tuthill Porsche Challenge, Sherwood Engines, XS Racing and West Wales Rally Spares. It was a great year for the Dunlop Monaco MSA British Historic Rally Championship, which over the 7 rounds of the season saw 12 different category winners in total, with 6 different ones in Category 3 alone. Reynolds, Elliott, Onions, Davis, Anderson and McRae. The overall champions obviously were David Stokes and Guy Weaver, and we'll come back to them in a few minutes. But at the end of the season there were 3 different category champions as well. The 3 championship category winners were, in Category 1, taking the driver's title was Ricky Profit. Profit, whose Porsche 911 showed increasing pace throughout the year, actually only had 1 category win outright, but he kept winning his class and his performances only tailed off when the tarmac events came along. But it was a good performance by him and he should start 2012 full of confidence. But taking the co-driver's title was Desi Nutt's co-driver Geraldine McBride. This was because Ricky changed co-drivers partway through the season, allowing McBride to take the championship honours. In Category 2, with Stokes and Weaver winning the championship outright, the category honours then moved down to the 2nd place car, and that was Andrew Siddle and Carl Williamson, who had a superb seasons-long battle with Dick Slaughter. The fact that a Pinto engine 2-litre car could win the category outright shows that you don't need to spend upwards of £60,000 on a car to have a good season's motorsport. And winning Category 3, which was some small consolation for their B.H.R.C season-ending role on the Ulster Rally, were Will Onions and Dave Williams.
Right 2 max over 300. Then 40. Left 2 max long.
That their crash was probably the season's biggest was something that Will was quite proud about as well. But otherwise, they were very fast and very consistent. And they were really the only crew able to match Reynolds and Elliott on a regular basis. And while there is no doubt that Reynolds and Elliott are the stars of the British Historic Rally Championship, especially when seen from those astonishing on-board shots that enliven our programmes, there is no doubt that there are several other crews throughout the categories who light up the screen as well. Let's start with Category 1, where Graham Waite and Jill Cotton were obviously the stars of the show. Their Volvo Amazon was apparently never straight, nearly always sideways, and yet usually setting fastest stage times. And 3 category wins was only bettered throughout the championship by Stokes and Weaver. And although the car very rarely gets through a rally without some form of mechanical distress, it nearly always seems to be at the front when it does. In Category 2, I would be tempted to say that the most spectacular driver is Dick Slaughter. His all arms and elbows approach being completely the opposite of Siddle's, for example, but it is completely entertaining to watch.
6 left, into 4 left, 50, crest over 1 right, 3.
In Category 3, there was a great battle throughout the season between Tim Pearson and Alan Walker. But it was Stuart Clark and Wayne Bonza who really caught the eye on a couple of occasions in their Pinto-engined Class D3 cars. In fact, Clark was leading the D3 class after the early season's gravel events, but then we didn't see him again. And Wayne Bonza was leading the Colin McRae Forest Stages Rally outright with driving like this, before settling down to a superb 2nd place. And let's not forget the class winners. And they are. In Category 1, and the smallest class of all, B1, went to Jeff Taylor and Steve Greenhill in their Sunbeam Imp Sport. Class B3 went to Callum Barney and Ron Channon, who turned up on the Colin McRae Forest Stages Rally and walked away with the Championship Class Award. B4 went to the previously mentioned Graham Waite and Jill Cotton. And with Ricky Profit winning the category, but changing his co-driver partway through the year, as previously mentioned, it was Desi Nutt who took the driver's title, and Profit's ex-co-driver, John Stangle-Lees, who took the B5 Class Award. In C1, Steve and Tony Graham appeared just once in their superb and rare Lancia Fulvia, but that was enough to win them that award. 23-year-old David Kirby and 17-year-old Ben Friend were the winners in C2 for up to 1600cc cars. Amazingly, their combined age is only about half that of David Stokes. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but only a little. Winning C3 and just losing out on the overall category victory by half a point were Dick Slaughter and Jeff Deering. Dick, to use a well-known Chav expression, driving it as if he stole it. And C4 went to the seldom seen kids, Keith McIver and David Burns. They didn't appear often, but when they did, they brought a smile to our faces. C5 went to Chris Brown and Liz Jordan. Their season's highlight being an outright category win on the Severn Valley Rally. And their lowlight being a trip into the Brussels Sprouts in Belgium.
Okay, yeah. Oh, he's off. He's off.
Moving into Category 3, Guy Anderson and Kim Baker won D2 in their 1600cc Talbot Sunbeam. Although the highlight of their season was surely their category victory in their D4 Sunbeam on the Flanders Rally. And D3, a very hotly contested class, went to Sean Rayner and Declan Deere after a couple of really good end-of-season events. D4 was a property of Steve Magson and Jeff Atkinson, which was some reward for a season in which they had some really dreadful rallies. And taking the fastest class of all were the D5 winners, Tim Pearcey and Neil Shanks, after a strong season in which they always seemed to be involved in a scrap of some sort. And they were really unlucky not to take the category victory outright, as a result of any sort on the Colin McRae Forest stages would have brought them success, but instead a gearbox failure on the first stage put them out of the rally. And we're not finished yet. In the two separate championships for gravel and tarmac events, it was David Stokes and Guy Weaver who took the Water End Asphalt Cup by just 1 point from Desi Nutt and Geraldine McBride. And Stokes and Weaver and Graham Waite and Jill Cotton shared the honours in the Water End Gravel Cup after 4 wins, 1 second place and a non-finish each from the 6 counting events. So a clean sweep of trophies for Stokes and Weaver, who you can't give enough praise to for their performances over the past 2 seasons in taking the championship 2 years on the trot. And 2011 was virtually a mistake-free season as well, as opposed to 2010, which did see 1 or 2 unforced errors. Over the past 15 events, we have seen Stokes tackled hard by some much younger drivers. Stephen Smith last year, Rupert Lomax and Stefan Stoof this year. And yet the older man has come out on top each year, with the guiding hand of the ultra-professional, ultra-calm Guy Weaver, who himself takes a championship for the 2nd year on the trot and the 3rd time in total. So ladies and gentlemen, hats off to David Stokes and Guy Weaver, truly deserving 2011 Dunlop Monaco MSA British Historic Rally Champions. Coverage of the British Historic Rally Championship is brought to you by Autosessif.com, Skipton Ford, the Tuthill Porsche Challenge, Sherwood Engines, XS Racing and West Wales Rally Spares.